What if I told you the miracle you've been waiting for isn't delayed? It's simply unspoken. What if the break through you crave, the healing you need, the door you've been pounding on, is already prepared, but waiting for one thing, your voice? Not the perfect voice, not the loud voice, but the honest voice that dares to believe. Because miracles don't begin when you beg. They begin the moment you speak. And when you speak with boldness, with alignment, with fire, everything changes. There is something mysterious, something divine, something unstoppable that happens when a human being chooses to believe out loud. The moment you open your mouth and speak what your heart dares to hope, you initiate a shift, an invisible yet undeniable ripple that starts to move through time and space. You may not feel it at first. You may not see fireworks or trembling skies, but don't be deceived by the silence. The silence after the prayer is not emptiness. It's motion, it's alignment, it's heaven rearranging itself to meet you where your voice met courage. You see, miracles don't wait for you to be perfect. They don't require a pristine life or a record without flaws. They wait for your voice. They wait for your declaration. When you speak, truly speak from a place of belief, not just empty words or memorized recitations, but from a place deep inside where doubt has been challenged and hope is gasping for air. That's where the impossible begins to bend. That's where the natural world starts making room for the supernatural. Your words carry more power than you realize. They aren't just air and sound. They are keys, they are gates, they are seeds. And every time you choose to speak life, you plant something eternal in the soil of this moment. You change the narrative. You declare that the situation doesn't have the final say. You claim authority over what others have already given up on. You're saying, it may not look like it now, but I believe something is shifting. Most people wait until they see change to speak change. But those who walk in the miraculous do it differently. They speak asterisk before asterisk they see. They declare healing while the pain still lingers. They declare freedom while chains still clatter at their feet. That's not delusion, it's faith in motion, and the truth is, the universe responds to that kind of audacity. It listens when someone stands up in the face of their struggle and speaks hope anyway. That kind of voice, shaky or strong, wakes things up. There is a deep authority that rests in the spoken word, and not the loud word, not the polished word. Sometimes it's the whisper at 3 a.m., the trembling prayer from a hospital bed, the breaking voice in an empty room. What matters is not how perfect your prayer sounds, but how honest it is. How willing you are to speak it even when everything in you says to stay quiet, to retreat, to accept what is instead of what could be. Do you know how many miracles never arrive, not because they weren't possible, but because the invitation was never spoken, because someone sat silently, paralyzed by doubt, waiting for a sign before they gave themselves permission to speak what they believe. But faith doesn't wait. Faith speaks asterisk first asterisk. It speaks into the void. It calls out what's not as though it were. It has the audacity to shape reality before it's even visible. The first miracle isn't always what you're asking for. Sometimes the first miracle is the fact that your voice returns after seasons of silence, that you found the strength to say, I still believe, even after all the losses, that you chose to speak when everything told you to stay small, to stay quiet, to stay broken. That first word, that first whisper of belief, that is the sound of something opening, a door, a path, a future. You can't keep waiting to feel ready. Readiness isn't what triggers the miraculous. Surrender is. And speaking from a place of surrender, when you've got nothing left to lean on but your trust in what's unseen, is one of the most powerful things a human soul can do. It doesn't have to be elegant. It doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be real, and the moment it's real, when the words leave your lips with weight and intention, that's the moment something starts to shift. Maybe not outside just yet, but certainly within. Your heart straightens its spine. Your spirit starts to stretch. Your eyes open a little wider, as if you're preparing to see something different. Because in truth, your prayer isn't just a request. It's a declaration that you are ready for change, that you are available for possibility, that you are willing to be interrupted by something bigger than the pattern you've been living in. So let the words rise. Let them come raw, unfiltered, unrehearsed. Let them shake if they must. Let them tremble, but let them come, because the moment you speak, truly speak from a place of bold belief, you don't just hear your own voice. You hear the sound of your story shifting, of your future breaking open, of the miracle beginning. When you pray with boldness, something unseen begins to stir, not because your volume is loud, but because your belief is loud. Bold prayer doesn't come from memorized phrases or rehearsed language. It comes from the gut, from the core, from a place that refuses to stay quiet in the face of fear. It doesn't beg, it declares. It doesn't negotiate with the impossible. It speaks as if the impossible has already submitted. You see, boldness in prayer isn't arrogance. It's surrender wrapped in confidence. It's the ability to say, I know what the facts are, but I believe in something deeper than facts. When you pray boldly, you're not ignoring the situation. You're refusing to let it define you. You're saying, I see what's around me, but I believe in what's above me. That boldness doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting even when you don't. There's something magnetic about that kind of prayer. It draws in change. It pulls possibilities closer. It grabs the attention of the atmosphere. Bold prayer is not a desperate shout. It's a confident whisper that refuses to retreat. It's when you speak not because everything's okay, but because you believe it can be. It's when you look at the storm and don't just ask for peace. You speak peace into it, and boldness doesn't mean loudness. Some of the most powerful prayers are spoken in silence, in solitude, with a tear rolling down a cheek and a soul still refusing to give up. Bold prayer is when your heart refuses to bow to hopelessness. It's when you still ask, even after being disappointed. It's when you still believe, even when you've been broken. This kind of boldness is contagious. When you pray with fire, others around you begin to catch the heat. You inspire those who have lost their words. You become a living reminder that courage is not about having no fear, it's about moving forward anyway. Bold prayer is what teaches the heart to trust again. Because the truth is, heaven does not move on the basis of perfection. It moves on the basis of faith. Not timid, tiptoeing faith, but daring, undignified, unapologetic faith. The kind that knocks on the door and doesn't leave until something answers. The kind that says, even if I have to stand here alone, I'll speak until something shifts. I'll believe until I see what I'm praying for. There is a kind of power that only reveals itself when you choose to pray boldly. Not safe, not scripted, but boldly, the kind of prayer that isn't concerned with how it looks or how it sounds, but only with how deeply it believes. And in that moment, when you choose boldness over silence, you open the floodgates of possibility. So when you speak, don't hold back. Don't shrink your words to fit your fear. Stretch your faith to fit your destiny. Because when you pray boldly, you're not just asking for change, you're announcing it. And the moment you do, change begins to rise to meet your words. There's a moment in every life when the heart starts to ache for more than survival. A moment when the soul begins to whisper, there has to be something greater than this. And it's in that moment that your alignment matters more than ever, because the truth is, miracles don't just happen in chaos. They arrive in clarity. When your heart aligns with what's right, when your motives mirror something deeper than self, when your desires echo with purpose rather than panic, that's when the miraculous begins to take shape. So many people speak prayers from a place of panic, desperation, fear. But the power doesn't lie in the noise of the prayer. It lies in the alignment of it. When what you want is in harmony with what is right, when your intentions are soaked in sincerity, something changes. You're not just speaking anymore. You're sinking. You're becoming a vessel, not just a voice. You're not praying to asterisk, get asterisk. You're praying to asterisk, become asterisk. And that shift, that realignment, is the space where miracles thrive. Miracles aren't magic. They're not tricks pulled from some unseen hat. They are responses to alignment. They are the visible rewards of invisible choices. When your mind, your heart, your voice, and your actions all lean in the same direction, when they aim toward truth, integrity, and courage, you become a landing strip for divine disruption. You become the kind of person that change can trust. And alignment isn't about perfection. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about having the courage to let go of what doesn't serve your growth. It's about recognizing when your desires are being driven by ego instead of purpose. It's about making adjustments, not because you're being punished, but because you're being positioned. There's a huge difference. You can speak all the right words, but if your heart is still chained to resentment, to selfishness, to pride, then your prayer becomes noise. But the moment your heart lets go and dares to align with peace, with hope, with love, even if it hurts, you create space. You make room for something bigger than you to move through you. And that movement, quiet as it may be, carries more power than anything you could force. So often we ask for things we're not ready to receive. Not because we're not worthy, but because we're not aligned. We want the outcome, but we're not willing to become the version of ourselves who can handle it. But alignment is the path to readiness. It sharpens your focus. It clears your vision. It teaches your spirit to rise above the noise and walk with direction. This is where true power lies, in the quiet, unseen decision to align your life with something higher than your fears, in the choice to match your desires with your discipline, to match your dreams with your character, to match your faith with your actions. That's alignment. That's the posture of someone who doesn't just hope for miracles. They prepare for them. And the beautiful thing is, when you align your heart, you no longer chase miracles. They find you. They meet you in the mundane. They reveal themselves in the ordinary. They whisper through opportunities you once overlooked. Because now you're ready, not because you forced it, but because you tuned yourself to receive it. When you speak a prayer that comes from an aligned heart, you're not just hoping, you're harmonizing. You're declaring that your life is in rhythm with something eternal, and because of that, miracles are not far there unfolding, right now, right here, quietly, boldly, surely.